Picture this. It's June 22nd, 1978. An astronomer named James Christie is staring at a photographic plate, completely frustrated. He's supposed to be calculating Pluto's orbit, but the image in front of him is garbage. Pluto looks like a smeared blob with a weird bulge on one side. Defective. Useless. Another failed photograph. Except it wasn't defective at all. That mistake was about to reveal one of the most shocking discoveries in the history of astronomy. A discovery that would completely shatter our understanding of what it means to be a planet. A discovery that would expose a violent, mysterious world hiding in plain sight at the frozen edge of our solar system. This is the story of Charon, Pluto's shadow twin. A moon so massive, so bizarre, that it literally tore itself apart from the inside out. And what NASA's New Horizons spacecraft discovered there in 2015 left scientists absolutely speechless. And wait until you hear about the mysterious red stain covering its north pole. Scientists are still arguing about where it came from, and the truth might connect these two worlds in ways we never imagined. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why Charon isn't just Pluto's moon. It's Pluto's equal, and their relationship is unlike anything else in our entire solar system. So buckle up. This gets wild. Let's rewind to that moment in 1978. James Christie is examining photographic plates of Pluto taken by a massive telescope in Arizona. Most of them are marked poor quality or defective because Pluto doesn't look like a clean dot. It's elongated, distorted. There's this strange bulge sticking out from one side. Now, normally, this would just be chalked up to atmospheric interference or a problem with the telescope. Bad luck. Try again tomorrow. But Christie had a very specific skill set. He'd spent years photographing double stars, binary systems where two stars orbit each other, and his trained eye saw something nobody else did. He noticed that while Pluto's image was blurred and smeared, the background stars in the exact same photograph were perfectly sharp, crystal clear points of light. If the problem was with the telescope or Earth's atmosphere, everything in the image would be distorted. But it wasn't. Only Pluto was affected, which meant the bulge had to be real. There was something else there. Christie dove into the observatory's archives, pulling out old photographic plates of Pluto dating back to 1965, plates that had been dismissed as failures, marked with notes like Pluto image elongated, discard. But now, these so-called mistakes became the smoking gun. Because Christie saw a pattern. The bulge moved. It systematically shifted position around Pluto over time. He and his colleague Robert Harrington tracked its movement across years of archived images, and they calculated that this mysterious bulge completed one full orbit around Pluto every 6.4 days. And here's the kicker. That's exactly how long it takes Pluto to rotate once on its axis. 6.4 days. This wasn't a photographic error. This was a massive moon, locked in perfect synchronization with Pluto, dancing together in the darkness at the edge of the solar system. The discovery was confirmed. The moon was officially designated S1978P1, and as the discoverer, Christie got to name it. He chose Charon after his wife Charlene, whose nickname was Char. He just added on to the end because it sounded scientific, like proton or electron. But here's where it gets almost creepy. Christie didn't realize it at the time, but in Greek mythology, Charon is the name of the ferryman who carries souls of the dead across the river Styx into the underworld, the realm ruled by the god Pluto. Pure coincidence or fate? Either way, the name was perfect, and it was officially adopted in 1986. Now, before we go further, only 13% of our subscribers actually get notified when we drop new videos. So if you want to catch every mind-blowing discovery like this, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Alright, so Charon was discovered. Cool, a new moon. But this wasn't just any moon. The discovery of Charon immediately began unraveling Pluto's deepest secrets. And the first revelation was absolutely shocking. By tracking Charon's orbit, astronomers could finally calculate the mass of the system. And when they did, they were stunned. Pluto wasn't a small rocky planet. It was incredibly lightweight. About 1/6 the mass of Earth's moon. Tiny. But here's what really blew their minds. Charon itself has 12% of Pluto's mass. 12%. To put that in perspective, Earth's moon is only 1.2% of Earth's mass. Charon is proportionally 10 times more massive compared to its parent body. This is insane when you think about it. Imagine if our moon was 10 times bigger. The tides would be catastrophic. The nights would be permanently lit. Our entire world would be different. This creates something unprecedented in our solar system. When a small moon orbits a large planet, the center of their combined mass, called the barycenter, sits deep inside the planet. The moon makes a big orbit. The planet makes a tiny wobble. Simple. But Pluto and Charon are so close in mass that their barycenter doesn't sit inside Pluto. It sits in empty space between them, about 960 kilometers above Pluto's surface. Think of it like two figure skaters holding hands and spinning. Neither one is standing still in the center. They're both spinning around an invisible point between them. That's Pluto and Charon, which means Pluto and Charon don't orbit each other like a planet and moon. They orbit a common invisible point in space, like two dancers spinning around each other, hands clasped, neither one leading. And it gets even stranger. They're mutually tidally locked. Our moon is tidally locked to Earth, meaning it always shows us the same face. But from the moon, you'd still see Earth rotating in the sky. Not with Pluto and Charon. They're locked face to face, staring at each other across 19,000 kilometers of frozen void. If you stood on the Charon-facing side of Pluto, Charon would hang motionless in the sky. A massive disk that never rises, never sets, never moves, frozen in place like a cosmic portrait. If you were on the opposite side of Pluto, you'd never see Charon at all, ever. This bizarre arrangement led many scientists to argue that Pluto and Charon shouldn't be called a planet and moon. They should be called a double planet, equal partners. And honestly, when you look at the evidence, they might be right. Drop a comment right now. Team double planet or team moon? Because this debate literally changed how we classify objects in our solar system. And this controversy became central to the heated discussion in 2006 when astronomers voted to demote Pluto from planet status to dwarf planet. Charon's discovery provided the critical evidence that our simple categories, planet versus moon, just didn't fit reality anymore. Some people are still mad about that decision today. So how did this insane system even form? For years, scientists thought it happened like our own moon, through a giant impact. A massive object from the Kuiper Belt slammed into Proto-Pluto, blasting debris into orbit, which eventually coalesced into Charon. But as computer simulations got better, that theory started falling apart. Pluto and Charon aren't molten balls of rock like early Earth. They're small, rigid worlds made mostly of water ice, and ice behaves very differently in a collision. So scientists developed a new theory, and this one is way cooler. They call it the kiss and capture scenario. Instead of a violent, planet-shattering impact, Proto-Pluto and Proto-Charon collided gently. A cosmic kiss. They stuck together briefly, spinning through space as a single snowman-shaped object for a few hours. Then tidal forces pulled them apart again, but not completely. They separated, but remained forever bound by gravity. When I first learned about this, I couldn't believe it. Two worlds kissing in the darkness of space and staying together forever. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real. This explains why both bodies survive largely intact, why Pluto is denser and rockier than Charon, and most importantly, it explains what happened next. Because that collision and the immense tidal friction as they stretched and pulled apart deposited a tremendous amount of heat inside both worlds. Heat that would melt Charon's interior, creating a subsurface ocean beneath its icy crust. And that heat is the key to understanding the most shocking feature of Charon's surface. For 37 years after its discovery, Charon remained a fuzzy dot in our telescopes. But on July 14, 2015, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Pluto and Charon at over 50,000 kilometers per hour. And the images it sent back were absolutely stunning. Scientists lost their minds. Charon's surface wasn't smooth. It was scarred, fractured, dominated by a massive system of canyons, ridges, and cliffs that wrapped around the moon's equator like a belt. The largest of these, called Serenity Chasma, runs for at least 1,800 kilometers and plunges 7.5 kilometers deep. That's 4 times longer and nearly 5 times deeper than Earth's Grand Canyon. Let me repeat that. A moon smaller than the continental United States has canyons that make the Grand Canyon look like a ditch. These aren't canyons carved by rivers, they're pull-apart faults. Evidence that Charon's entire crust was once stretched to its breaking point and tore itself apart. What could cause an entire world to expand and rupture like that? The answer lies in that subsurface ocean. The heat from Charon's making ice inside, creating a vast liquid water ocean beneath the frozen crust. But all small bodies eventually lose their heat to space. As Charon cooled over millions of years, that ocean began to freeze. And here's the critical thing. Water expands when it freezes. Unlike most substances that contract, ice takes up more volume than liquid water. As the ocean turned to ice, it pushed outward on the crust from below. The surface stretched, strained, and finally ruptured. Charon literally tore itself apart at the seams, like Bruce Banner transforming into the Hulk. Today, those colossal canyons are frozen scars, a permanent record of the death of Charon's ocean. Comment below if you think Charon is the most violent moon in the solar system, because honestly, tearing yourself apart from the inside out is pretty extreme. But the freezing ocean did more than crack the surface. It paved over half the world. Wait, it gets weirder. New Horizons revealed two completely different hemispheres on Charon. Like someone took two different moons and stuck them together. The northern hemisphere, called Terra, is ancient and battered. Rugged terrain covered in craters and crisscrossed by those vast tectonic faults. This is the original crust of Charon, frozen and it's but the southern hemisphere, totally different. This region, called Vulcan Planitia, is a vast smooth plain, far fewer craters, lower elevation, and marked by features that look like frozen flows. It's believed Vulcan Planitia is one of the largest examples of cryovolcanism in the solar system. Ice volcanoes, on a moon smaller than the United States, erupting for millions of years. Not volcanoes of molten rock, but icy slush. As the ocean froze and expanded, it didn't just crack the crust, it pressurized the liquid water below, which was probably mixed with ammonia acting like antifreeze. This pressurized cryomagma was forced upward through the cracks, erupting onto the surface. Icy lava flooded the southern hemisphere, creating the smooth plains we see today. Scattered across these plains are isolated mountains sitting in strange depressions. Scientists think these are colossal blocks of the older northern crust that broke off, floated on the cryovolcanic flows like icebergs, and were left stranded as everything froze solid. But the most mysterious feature on Charon is its North Pole, and this is where things get truly bizarre. Capping the top of the moon is a large, dark, reddish-brown stain, so prominent that scientists informally named it Mordor Macula, after the Black Land from Lord of the Rings. The color comes from tholins, complex organic molecules formed when methane is bombarded by ultraviolet light and cosmic rays. Tholins are common in the outer solar system, but their concentration at Charon's pole is unique. So where did the methane come from? Scientists are divided, and this is where it gets controversial. The first theory is that it's a gift from Pluto. Pluto's atmosphere is rich in nitrogen and methane, and it's slowly escaping into space. As Charon orbits, its gravity captures some of this gas. During Charon's polar winter, which lasts over a century, temperatures drop below -240 degrees Celsius. The methane freezes directly onto the surface. When the pole finally swings back into sunlight, UV radiation cooks the methane into reddish tholins, staining the pole. If this is true, it means Pluto is literally painting Charon's surface across thousands of kilometers of space. The second theory is that the methane came from Charon's own interior. The massive cryovolcanic eruptions would have released enormous amounts of gas dissolved in the subsurface ocean. This created a temporary atmosphere. The methane migrated to the coldest part, the pole, and froze out over billions of years. Which theory do you believe? Pluto's gift or Charon's own methane? Comment below, because scientists genuinely don't know yet, and your guess is as good as theirs. Either way, Mordor Macula is proof of the inseparable connection between Pluto and Charon. Whether the methane came from Pluto's atmosphere or Charon's interior, these two worlds are locked in a dynamic, interconnected dance. One world literally influences the chemistry of the other across the vacuum of space. Our journey began with a smudge on a photograph that was almost thrown away. It ends with a world of staggering complexity, a world of canyons deeper than any on Earth, vast plains of ancient ice lava, a mysterious red-stained pole, and a lost ocean frozen into its crust. You can't tell Pluto's story without Charon. It was Charon's orbit that revealed Pluto's true mass, Charon's existence that pointed to their violent shared birth, Charon's fractured surface that tells the story of a dead ocean, and Charon's red pole that might record Pluto's atmosphere bleeding into space over billions of years. In mythology, Charon was inseparable from Pluto's realm, the ferryman who could never leave. Science has proven this profoundly true. Charon isn't just a moon, it's the other half of a unique binary system, forever locked in silent eternal orbit, face to face, staring at each other across the frozen darkness at the edge of everything. Should we send another mission to study Charon up close? To drill into those canyons? To search for remnants of that ancient ocean? Let me know in the comments. If this video amazed you, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the Curiosity Beast, because the universe is full of secrets like this, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. And we're going to uncover every single one of them. Thanks for watching Curiosity Beast. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop feeding that curiosity.